Let's make sure this is working. We're working on YouTube. Getting ready on Facebook. Okay, we're good on Facebook. Now let's get on Instagram. What's up, guys? Happy Free Coaching Friday. Casey from Casey Rose Coaching here. Today, we are going to be going in on self-love, cultivating confidence, and releasing comparison to others. So if you guys are hopping on live, say what's up. The replay will be posted if you can't stay for the whole thing, both on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Let me know if you guys have questions throughout. I want to make this as interactive as possible for you. Some people dropped their questions yesterday, so I'm going to go through those at the end. And also at the end, I'm going to give you 3 actionable steps that you can take right now to cultivate that self-love, that confidence, and release that comparison. Because I promise, take it from experience, life is so much better when you aren't sitting around worrying about what other people think. When you totally love and accept yourself, you get to show up as your most authentic self. And that is it's just the best feeling in the world. Trust me, I was someone for a really long time who compared myself to others. I was always worried about what other people were going to think of me. I acted certain ways in certain situations to make sure that other people would like me. And that's not real. That's not real life. And I promise you, it feels so much better when you just don't give a shit anymore. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So once again, say hey if you're hopping on live, drop any questions that you might have, and let's get into it. Okay. So the first question that I want you guys to ask yourself, and close your eyes if you want to drop in, is just ask yourself, do you love yourself? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? And if that answer is not a 10, first of all, if it's not a 10, don't judge yourself. It's okay. It is what it is. Don't judge yourself. We're already not feeling good, so don't make yourself feel worse. It is what it is. But why not a 10? What about you? What about the way that you see yourself is so awful that you can't love and accept who you are? Why do the judgments that you place on yourself, the shortcomings, the past experiences, the emotions you tie to who you are, why don't you get to feel totally in love and obsessed with yourself? Right? Just because you said something embarrassing, or just because you acted a certain way in a certain situation, just because maybe you have past experiences that have made you not feel too good, why do those get to dictate how you feel about yourself moving forward? Right? Why are we allowing something that happened in the past, or the way somebody treated us, right? Or the way that we watched other people get treated? Why are we allowing that to dictate how we feel? Why are you allowing those things to dictate your relationship with your own self? Right? Why? It's because it's a learned behavior. So that's the first part that we're going to go into. If you know me, if you've been around my work, I do a lot about our belief system and deconditioning our belief system, because I believe that that's the root of why we are the way that we are. Everything that you're experiencing in your life, the way that you perceive things, the way that you project things, it's all based on your conditioning. It is all based on how you were raised, the things that were modeled for you, the past experiences and the emotions associated with those past experiences. That's why you are the way that you are. You didn't come onto this planet judging yourself. You weren't a little baby in the hospital comparing yourself to all the other little babies. You didn't come here with this awful sense of self-judgment and self-doubt, right? So where did it come from? And that's why I really want you to ask yourself that question in the beginning. Keep coming back to that, is why don't you love yourself? Why don't you accept who you are? That question right there is going to give you a lot of answers moving forward. So just keep thinking about that. But what I want you guys to understand is that it's a learned behavior. The way that you currently feel about yourself is based on the identity that you've created, right? Your learned behavior. So for example, say you were a little kid on the playground and this group of mean girls made fun of you. They made fun of your outfit. They made fun of your shoes. That's going to leave an emotional wound inside of you that makes you feel like you're less than, that makes you feel like you're not good enough, that causes you to base your identity around this belief that you're not worthy. So now moving through adulthood, if that's your belief, you're going to continue to perceive situations around you that validate that belief, that you're not good enough, right? So then maybe when you start, forming friendships, or you start dating, if you start to get rejected, you're going to further validate this belief that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, right? And what happens is the more that we have, the more experiences that we have, that we seek out, that we attract into our lives that validate this belief, the more we form and attach ourselves to that identity. But what I want you guys to understand, the most important thing, in my opinion, once again, this is all my opinion, but for me, how I had the journey back to self-love after years of hating on myself, after years of having an awful relationship with who I was, with my body, with my self-esteem, with my anxiety, the only way I was able to remove that and move forward, and trust me, it's still there. This isn't like an all or nothing, like it's just going to go away in a flash. This takes work. But for me, the biggest game changer was realizing that it wasn't me. And yes, maybe I did seek out these situations and maybe I did form these opinions and project and perceive and all of those things, right? But just because I did that didn't mean that I couldn't unlearn it. And write this down if you guys are taking notes or if you're not driving. If you can learn a behavior, you can also unlearn a behavior. If you can learn to judge yourself, to talk shit to yourself, to hate yourself, to think that you're unworthy, if you can learn that, then you can also unlearn that. Those thoughts, those beliefs, that is not you. It's not you. And if you continue to think it is you, if you continue to think that something is wrong with you, that you're a piece of garbage, that you're unworthy just because you are, because the universe hates you, because your parents didn't love you, because X, Y, and Z, if you continue to pour into that belief, that's what you're going to continue to have, right? So realize that those were learned behaviors. They are not you. If you can learn them, then you can also unlearn them. And here's the other thing. If you can learn to hate yourself and judge yourself and feel unworthy, well, can't you also learn to love yourself? Can't you relearn how to accept who you are and cultivate confidence? It's the same thing. If you can learn all of this crap that makes you feel less than, well, what if we just started pouring in and paying a little bit more attention to the things that made us feel good? What if you started writing down every morning 10 things that you loved about yourself? And what if you started expressing gratitude? And what if you started to create new beliefs that supported the version of you who freaking loved and accepted herself? Right? I want you to think about Beyonce right now. What would Beyonce do? What does she think in the morning? Does she look in the mirror and she's like, oh my God, this is as good as it's going to get. I can't believe that I have to, go out in public like this. Everybody hates me. No. And yes, maybe Beyonce has limiting beliefs. I'm sure she does. But that's not what she gives her attention to. That's not what she thinks right before she gets on stage. I guarantee you she's having thoughts and she's visualizing how fucking amazing she is. The boss bitch that she is, right? Where focus goes, energy flows. I think that's the saying. I was trying to think this yesterday on live. What you pour your energy into is what matters. So if you continue to wake up and tell yourself you're a piece of shit and that you aren't worthy and that you'll never get your dream job, you'll never have a good relationship, you always are going to suck, you're always going to be broke, that's what's going to happen. And call yourself out. Here's the other thing is I think we've gotten so used to coddling ourselves, and trust me, I am huge on giving ourselves space, feeling your emotions, crying it out. I promise you I cry on a weekly basis, and that's okay. But if we continue to pour into our victim, our woe is me, nobody loves me, I'm a piece of crap, and you go down that road, what do you expect to happen, right? You have to be the one. Nobody can do this for you. Here's the thing is I'm a coach. I do this. I work with one-on-one clients. I do group programs, but you have to be the one to help yourself. Nothing is going to change until you show up and call yourself out. And it's okay to call yourself out. We have to stop thinking that it's wrong to give ourselves tough love, right? I wasn't able to pull myself out of that dark space mentally by continuing to coddle myself. I had to have a talk with, okay, Casey, you've tried to stay in your victim for a pretty long time and it's really not working out for you, is it? You're staying a whole lot of stuckness. You're not being nice to yourself. Nothing changes in that environment. So say it, call it out loud. There's nothing wrong with it. Be like, all right, girlfriend, we got to get back on track. Wouldn't it feel a lot better to love ourselves? What does that confidence look like? What does releasing the comparison and the self-judgment and the self-doubt look like, right? And that's going to be one of your action steps at the end. But really, to go back to the point that I was really trying to make is that, and hi, Julia, thank you for commenting, is that if you can learn to hate yourself and judge yourself, then you can also learn to freaking love yourself. And fight me on that. If you have a limiting belief come up, comment it. I want to go down this rabbit hole with you. So many people come to me and say, I just can't. I'm too shy. I'm not good enough. I've had all these past experiences, and I'm sure you have. So many people have also have awful pasts and awful experiences and maybe have gone through trauma. Of course, you're going to feel a certain type of way if that's what you've experienced. I'm not arguing that those things aren't awful. What I'm saying, the point that I'm trying to make, is that they don't get to define you. These are patterns, these are conditions, they are learned behaviors. And if you can pull them on and attach to them, then you can also detach from them. It's a lot harder, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And if you keep pouring into this belief that you suck, that you're garbage, that you're less than, that's what you're going to get. Right now, even just thinking about feeling how confident I am, how much I love myself, how freaking amazing I am, it lights me up to a whole nother level. And that's what's possible for you too. Hi, Carissa. Thank you. Guys, it takes time, yes, but I made a post today. It's not an all or nothing, right? It doesn't have to be, I have to work at this 8 hours a day in order to love myself, and I have to delete all of the limiting beliefs and all of the self-judgment and all of the self-doubt, right? Yes, we do have to do the work, but it doesn't have to be this crazy big thing. You can just start to practice self-love for 5 minutes a day, and your world will shift very quickly. What if you woke up and instead of immediately judging yourself, instead of getting in the mirror or taking a shower and getting ready, instead of, oh my God, this is as good as it's going to get. Look at my hair today. Oh my God, look at the bags under my eyes. Oh my God, is that a gray? What if instead it was, hallelujah, another day. I am so blessed with my body. Look at me in the mirror. Look at your hair today, girl. Like, what if you hyped yourself up? Doesn't that feel a lot freaking better? And if you're having trouble hyping yourself up, get somebody else to hype you up. Reach out to me. I will give you a pep talk every single morning, right? If you work with me, my one-on-one clients, I am blowing you up, reminding you of how amazing you are, reminding you of your power, of your magic, of how incredible you are and how worthy. Guys, we have to start doing that. It takes work, but I don't want you guys to think that the work is so overwhelming, is so scary. I used to have that belief when I first started my own self-love journey, is that it was going to take forever and there was so much ahead of me and I got super overwhelmed, and that's normal, but it's okay, right? So what if it takes a little bit of time? Wouldn't it feel better along the way if you practiced a little bit of self-love instead of shitting on yourself all the time, right? It feels better. That's going to be in one of the 3 things that I give you guys, one of the actionable steps at the end. But just think about that. That's the first point I wanted to make, is first of all, asking yourself, if you love yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? And why isn't that number a 10? And now look at those things, and this is what I do in all my work, disprove those lies. Well, I can't love myself because I didn't get into college, or I can't love myself because my parents aren't proud of me, or I can't love myself because my ex-boyfriend cheated on me. Okay, yeah, all those things suck, and I'm sorry that those happened, but why are you allowing those things to dictate your level of self-worth? They're not the same, right? We think that they are. We attach meaning to them. Here's the other thing, is ask yourself, what am I making it mean about me? Next time you're feeling less than, next time you're comparing yourself to the other girl, the Instagram models. What are you making it mean about you that you don't look like Kendall Jenner? Who freaking cares, right? It doesn't have to mean anything. Just because other people are doing things, this is going into my next, sorry, I get really carried away. This is going into one of my next points, is comparison and worrying about what other people think of you. This is a losing game every single freaking time. And if that is where your focus is, comparing yourself to other people, and then you feel like shit, why? Why do we do that to ourselves? I'll tell you why. Because we don't have our own sense of internal validation. We don't love and accept ourselves. If you don't pour that focus into yourself and then you get on social media, that is setting you up for immediate shitty energy. You're going to feel like crap about yourself. And why do we compare ourselves to other people? Let's go into this. I wasn't going to go this deep, but comparison is something that I struggled with for a long time. I still catch myself. It's not as bad as it used to be, but especially with social media. Biggest tip, guys, get off your freaking phones. You can be on this for this live, but then get off your phones. If you are looking at your favorite influencer or Instagram model or what you see on TV, why does their life, just because what they're living, make yours less valid? Right? Excuse me. Why does having all the money and the dream relationship and the dream car and the perfect house and all these things that you see online, and here's the other thing, they're bullshit. Yes, they might post their clean house one day, but I guarantee you the next minute it's a piece of garbage. Their kids are making a tornado. You only see what people want you to see. Social media is a highlight reel. The amount of times I post when I'm having a good day compared to when I'm having bad days, of course I don't jump on here every single day that I'm crying and that I'm having a shitty day, because I'm giving myself space for that. So don't you think for 1 second that the influencer that you follow or the Instagram model, that they have a perfect life, because they don't. You think that they do, and you've formed your own assumption. You've created your identity compared to their identity around it. It's not real. Okay, so that's one tip that went so in a different direction than I wanted it to. Guys, stop comparing yourself to other people. And to snowball on this, one of the points that I really wanted to talk about, this came to me, it was a download that I had yesterday, and I'm going to do a podcast episode on this because there's a lot to say here. Raise your hand if you are someone who worries about what other people think. I think all of our hands should be up. It's normal. I've done this work for quite a long time, and I really do love and accept the absolute shit out of myself. I really love who I am. I'm very confident in who I am. But I still have days where I compare myself to other people and I worry about what other people think. So if you are someone, because I know a lot of people want to do different things with their life, right? Or they are worried about what other people are going to think based on what they want to do with their lives. And here's what I want to say. You, first of all, cannot control what anybody's going to think. People are going to think what they want no matter how much you try to control it, right? You could be the most, what is that saying? You could be the most perfect peach in the world and somebody's still going to hate peaches. That's exactly what's happening. Julia, I care what my kids think about me too much. I'm letting that go. Here's the thing that I want to say to this. Thank you for sharing that. Every single person has created their own version of you inside of their minds. No two people think about you the way that you think about yourself and the way that you want them to think about you. That's kind of inception-y. Does that make sense? We think about ourselves. We have our own identity that we've created, right? And we see ourselves in that light. Every single person on this planet has their own perception of, first of all, how the entire world works. We all have goggles on based on our conditioning, based on our learned behaviors, based on our past experiences. So we are all filtering life in a different way. I see life differently than you see life. I see life differently than my fiance sees life, right? It's normal. But the version of you that you've created in your mind, that's not how other people see you. And no matter how perfect you try to be, no matter how correct you try to be, no matter how Instagram model worthy you try to be, people are still going to form their own assumption based on their own conditioning. Nobody thinks about you the way that you think about yourself. And that, to me, when I realized that and when I really took it to heart and thought about it, I was like, well, I'm trying to be this perfect version. I'm trying to look a certain way. I'm trying to present myself a certain way, not only for myself, but for other people. I want people to see me in that light. They're not going to. They might, but they also probably won't, because they're forming their own perception, right? You cannot control what other people think about you. No matter how perfect you are, no matter how worthy you're trying to present yourself, what matters is how you feel about yourself, because that is the only thing that you can control. I saw this really great post. It was like an empty room with a bed in it. And it said, this room is filled with the other people who pay your bills, who live inside of your head, who take care of your life. You are the only one. You are the one who has to go to sleep at night. You are the one who has to pay your bills. You are the one who has to love and accept yourself, not the other people, not the opinions of others. Why do we place so much weight on what other people think about us? Because at the end of the day, first of all, you're the only one who gets to choose. But second of all, who cares? Who cares that they have an opinion? Who cares what they're going to think, right? Like, what does that matter? It does not get to affect you unless you let it affect you. I want you to think about like a castle, the old time castles, right? They had the moat around and there was like a drawbridge that let people in and out. This is like old school TV, like kingdoms and stuff, right? I want you to think about yourself. You're the castle. And there is this big moat around you, this little circle of water. And you get to determine who gets to come into your castle. You get to determine what you let that bridge down for. Do you want to let that bridge down for other people's opinions, for judgments of other people? They don't matter. They only matter if you give your energy to them. If you let the drawbridge down and say, wow, yeah, you're right. That random ass person on Instagram who called me ugly, or that person who decided to tell me how to parent my kids, or that person who said this or that. You are the one who gets to choose if you give power to that. You're the only one. And so many of us base our worth because we haven't validated ourselves. Here's the thing. If you don't love and accept yourself, you are constantly going to be looking for that validation outside of you. You're constantly going to let your drawbridge down to let other people validate you. And if you don't love and accept yourself, that comment that somebody says on Instagram, or that comment that that group of mean girls makes about you, it will affect you if you don't love and accept yourself. But if you get so strong in who you are, if you become so confident and so full of love and acceptance, you don't allow anything in the external to make it mean anything about you. If you become sovereign in that and remember that your power is yours, you are not a victim, you are not less than, your worth is yours to determine. If you get to that space, nothing else can touch you. And I'm not saying that sometimes certain comments don't hurt, or like sometimes I worry about what my family thinks of me or what they think of my job and whatnot, but are they the ones who are inside of my body? Are they the ones who have to feel happy with what they're doing or not doing? If I lived my life, and same for you, if you live your life to make other people happy or in fear of what other people are going to think of you, you are constantly going to be let down. You might be seeking, or you might be validating the approval from others, and people might say, oh yeah, good job. But if you're not happy, why? I was in a job before this. I've worked multiple jobs. And the last job I had, it was medical device sales, right? And it was a really good job. I was in the operating room working with doctors, and it was really cool, but I was not happy. It was sales, and I had to sell something I wasn't passionate about. But I was there putting on a happy face to like get these doctors to like me and get them to buy my product. And meanwhile, I would go home and want to stab my eyeballs out. I was on call 24/7. I always had to have my phone on me. And on the outside, people were like, that's such a cool job. Oh my God, you must be making so much money. Like, how cool. You get to work with doctors and you're in the operating room. And on the outside, it looked like a really cool job. My family was really excited about it for me. And I felt validation through their excitement. But I went to bed every single night. You can ask my fiance. There were very few nights that I didn't cry myself to sleep because it sucked so bad. And I was so unhappy. But I stayed with it because I thought it was the right thing to do, because society told me it was the right thing to do, because having a good paying job and benefits and all that shit, that's what you're supposed to do. I hated every second of it, but I stayed with it for fear of what people would think if I quit, or what people would think if I did this my own business, right? I was comparing my life to my friends who had all of these incredible 9-to-5 jobs where they were making great money. And I was sitting there like, I don't like this, but I should like it. So I'm going to do it. If you live in fear of what other people will think of you, you will constantly be disappointed. I promise you, once you start to follow what you want, once you become the source of your own happiness, once you can, I'm getting really fired up. Once you become the person who is the one who validates you, who loves and accepts you, when you realize that when you lay your head down at the pillow at night, you are the only one who gets a say in how you feel, once you remember that, none of that other shit matters. The opinions of other people, pebbles, right? A drop in a bucket. Why do they freaking matter so much? Why they matter right now to you is because you're placing your worth on their expectations, or on their, their validation. I put all my worth into being a certain kind of mom and wanting to see me as the best mom ever. I'm letting it go, though. I started doing things how I felt was best. Exactly, Julia. Right? And yes, it's okay to want to be a good mom. It's okay to want your kids to love and accept you and, appreciate all the things that you do. But if you're trying to do it the way that you think your kids want you to do it, then you're always going to be setting yourself up for a letdown, because you don't even know how your kids see you or how they want you to be. And I don't have kids yet, so this is, I'm not my forte to speak on, but in terms of your own self-worth and your own self-love, you have to do you. And yes, you have children to take care of and provide for, but as long as you're showing up with that love and that acceptance and being the best mom that you can be in your eyes, not the Instagram moms, not what you see the celebrities doing, not what you see your friends doing and how they're parenting. If you show up and love and accept your kids and be the best version of you, that's what's going to change the game. Loving and accepting who you are. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. And once again, I don't have kids, so I can't fully speak to this, but I do know how it feels to try to be something and try to be the best version of it. But if it's a facade, what is it anyway? You know, you're not being you. Woo! So that's my point. I'm worrying about what other people think. Everyone has a version of what they think you are inside of your head. So you might as well do what makes you happy. Okay? The last thing I want to touch on is confidence. And then I'm going to go into the questions that people asked. I kind of have already answered them, but then I'm going to give you 3 actionable steps that you can do today to cultivate that self-love, that confidence, and release the comparison. And real quick, I want to drop in, guys. Self-doubt detox begins February 7th. If you are someone who struggles with loving yourself, if you struggle with those self-judgments, worrying about what other people think, being confident, get inside this program. It's 4 weeks. We begin February 7th. You're going to get live trainings. You're going to get journal prompts. You're going to get meditations, all of the things to support you in becoming the you that you want to be without all this shit holding you back. Okay. I'll talk about it more at the end. Message me if you're interested, but it's super important to remember that, guys. You're the only one who gets to determine how you feel about yourself. And once again, go back to that question I asked in the beginning. How much do you love yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? I want that number to be a 10 plus. I want you to be a 50. You are the only one who gets to determine it, and it's something you can do right now. You get to choose. It's a choice that you make, a decision. Right now, moving forward, I fucking love and accept myself. Say that out loud. I'm choosing how I want to feel about myself moving forward. I'm not letting the opinions of others hold me back. I am the one in control of who I am, how I feel about myself. Your worth is yours, nobody else's. Okay? Just remember that. And all right, let's talk about confidence. A lot of people, how do I be confident? I'm too shy to be confident. I got that question today. Confidence takes practice. But what I believe is that confidence comes from this deep space of loving and accepting yourself. Because when you love and accept yourself, like truly, truly love who you are, not based on your past experiences, not what other people think about you, when you know your worth. So that's my first step with cultivating confidence, is it comes down to how much you love and accept yourself. But once you do, you create this deep trust within yourself, within knowing that you're the one who gets to validate yourself, knowing that you are the only one who gets to determine it. And you get to this point, at least in my experience, where it just becomes inevitable that you're going to be confident because you're not giving 2 shits about what Sally has to say about you on the internet anymore. You're not worrying about what your family thinks about you. You're not worrying about the judgments you might face. And when you get to that space of being like unfuckwithable, that's what I'm going to call it, confidence just comes out naturally. Because you finally have loved and accepted who you are, that you're not afraid to express it anymore. When that fear goes away, the fear of, the opinions of others, the judgments that you might place on yourself, when you wash all that away, you peel back the layers, your true self, your confidence is just going to naturally come through. Honestly, I think if you asked yourself right now, why aren't you confident? A lot of people would say because of what other people are going to think of me. Who freaking cares? We just talked about that for the last 10 minutes, right? Let that shit go and practice it. So here's the other thing with confidence is you have to practice. If you are used to dimming your light, if you are used to worrying about what other people think, if you are used to judging yourself, it's going to feel super weird to all of a sudden strut through, work or get online or whatever it is that you do on a daily basis. It's going to feel different if you've judged yourself for the last 20 years, but practice it. My action step with this, and this is going to be one of the ones I give you at the end, journal out, take some time. Journal out what confident you looks like, right? How does she dress? How does she speak to herself and how does she speak to others? How does she present herself? How does she act in social situations? How does she eat? How does she talk? How does she walk? Journal out that version and get clear on it, right? And if you're struggling, use Beyonce. I talk about Beyonce all the time because her confidence and her, her energy really lights me up. If you're struggling to think about what life looks like as you confident, journal up about Beyonce or about me, right? Take somebody, these are called expanders. I take that term from Lacey Phillips. Look at people and don't go down the comparison track, but this is a great tool for social media is look at people who are confident, who have what you want and write down how they act. Right? I want you to think about yourself, but if you're struggling with that, you can look to other people, but really just ask yourself, what does the version of me who's confident look like? What does she act like? What does she wear? And embody that. So now that you have that list, okay, so what are the action steps that I need to take? Who do I need to be to cultivate that confidence? So for me, it went from worrying about what other people would think, wearing clothes that I thought everybody else was going to wear, painting my nails the way that everybody else painted their nails, that I deemed worthy, right? Based on Instagram, based on what my friends were doing, etc. And I had a hard time because for so long I denied my authentic self because I was so used to being a chameleon, morphing to what my friends were doing, morphing to what society had modeled for me. So it took me a little bit to figure out my own style and who I was and how I wanted to be. But once you release all that conditioning, once you peel back those layers, come out, right? So start looking at clothes. Like I do this with my clients. I have 2 girls they're my glow gang, my glow girls. And I urge them to start to wear clothing that makes them feel good. Even just browsing online shops. Look at these pieces of clothing that you put on your body and ask yourself, does this make me feel my most confident? Right? Does this make me feel like my Beyonce self? Yes or no? If no, get rid of it, right? We don't have room for the shit that makes us feel less than. And this is not to say that you can't have your favorite comfy sweatpants and your pajamas and, your holy sweatshirt if that's what you love to wear. There's different versions of us. We have different identities that we get to show up in. But what I want to tell you is if you're cultivating your confident self, start to act like it. Start to wear the clothes that she would wear. Start to speak like she would speak. Stop showing up so soft and not expressing yourself. Own your voice and show up with it, right? Stop dimming your light to make other people feel comfortable. Fuck that shit, okay? You get to be you. You get to be all of you. And if you are still worried about what other people think, please reach out. We are busting that right now. We are squashing that belief. It's not cool. It's not cool anymore. You get to be you. Practice that confidence. Hype yourself up in the mirror. So here's the thing. Most of us, our throat chakras are blocked. Most of us do speak in a voice that is not our own because we're worried about what other people think or we've been dimmed for so long. Something that I started to do before I started this business because I was nervous to get on camera. Like now, I love it. I want to talk. I do. I talk every single day. I have a Facebook group where I go live every single day and I talk because this is what lights me up. But before I started this business, even 2 years ago, you can look back at my fitness business. And when I wasn't working out online, I would try to do these like motivational pep talks. And my voice, I should find the videos and share them. I was so nervous. I would sit there. I'd be like playing with my hair. I'd be like hiding myself because I was so scared of like being on camera and speaking because I was so worried about what other people would think. And now I give 2 shits. I don't care because I love and accept myself. That's all that freaking matters. I don't care what you guys think. Not you guys. I love you guys who are on. I don't care what the random trolls are going to think. It doesn't matter because I can't control what they think anyway. No matter how perfect I try to be, somebody is not going to like me. And that's okay. They don't have to like me. And they don't have to like you. If you like yourself, that's it. That's what matters. So another tip I have for confidence is get in front of the mirror. Start speaking to yourself. I am a big proponent of writing down all the things you love and accept about yourself, but then take that list, write it down, and get in front of the mirror and start to say, I love myself. I am worthy. I love who I am. I love my smile. I love that I light up the room, whatever it is. And if you're struggling to make that list, hop on a call with me. You deserve to love and accept who you are. And if you can't think of those things for yourself, I will help you remember them, okay? That's what you deserve. You are worthy just because you are. It doesn't matter. You are worthy because you are on this planet. Your worth is not dependent on your bank account. It's not dependent on your physical appearance. It's not dependent on the amount of friends you have. It's not dependent on the fact if you have kids or not. It's not dependent on the job that you have. Your worth is yours because it is. Because you were born onto this planet. And that's it. That's the only thing it's based on. And if you choose to recognize it, that's it. And that's what I want to leave that as. Okay? Come at me if you want to argue. Come at me in like a fun way. This is not like a calling you out way. But if you have a belief that's saying otherwise, call it out. Let's work through it. Stop waking up every single day thinking that you have to be this version of yourself to fit in so that society approves of you, so that your significant other loves you and accepts you. No, you get to determine that. And that's where confidence comes from, in my opinion. That's where it's going to come from. Okay? So remember that. Woo! All right, the 3 action steps I want to give you, because this is getting long and I still have to answer questions. I think I might answer the questions in a follow-up. I might do those on my stories. I've answered most of them. But 3 things that you can try right now today to practice self-love, to cultivate that confidence, to release the opinions of others. Number 1, positive self-talk. Practice that thought awareness. Go listen to my podcast episode. Search Glow Up Your Life on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you are someone who struggles with negative self-talk, you got to practice thought awareness. This is your thought, this pen. I want you guys to start trying. I have an entire episode on this. I talk about this in all my episodes because this tool right here changed my life. Thought awareness. Thoughts that come up in your mind, you don't have to listen to them. You don't. You think you do because your identity is created around these thoughts. Let it go. I said this, I think, on my last episode. I was thinking about closing your eyes and picturing you're looking up at the sky and there are little airplanes flying by. Those airplanes are your thoughts, and you can choose if you want to jump on that airplane or if you don't want to. So if that thought is coming up saying you're a piece of shit, you are unworthy, he's never going to text you back because you suck, blah, 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 blah. That airplane, that thought, this pen, you do not have to listen to it. It might keep talking. It might try to get louder, but the only way it gets to become life is if you look at it and you're like, you're right. I am a piece of shit. He's never going to text me back because I'm ugly. If you grab that thought, if you get on that airplane, then yeah, that's what you're going to think. But if you just let that airplane keep passing, eventually it will get quieter. This takes practice, but this is something you could do right here, right now. Watch your thoughts. And the point I want to make here is positive self-talk can change so much. If you wake up, and you need to enforce this. It's hard to remember it if your constant self-talk is negative. If it's talking down to you, right? So what I do, my alarm that goes off in the morning, you can put labels on your alarm. And my labels in the beginning, and they still are, they're a little different than they were in the beginning, but now in the beginning it was, you are so worthy. You are loved and accepted just as you are. You are beautiful. You are perfect. You are X, Y, and Z, right? You make a difference. You make an impact. You are so incredible. That's what my alarm label would say. So that the first thought in my mind, instead of, oh my God, I missed my alarm. Oh my God, I'm going to be late. Oh my God, my boss is going to get mad at me. Oh my God, I look like shit today. Instead of letting all those airplanes come up, it was, all right, I'm worthy because I am. That's it. That's the thought, fudge. That's the airplane I was choosing to get onto. You have a choice. Stand in the mirror after this live for 1 minute. Put 60-second timer on your phone and talk in the mirror for 60 seconds straight about all the things that you love and accept about yourself, about how amazing you are, about how confident you get to be, about how fucking amazing you are. Because you are. It's a choice that you make. Okay? Woo! Tip number 1, positive self-talk. Tip number 2, journal about, and I already said this in the confidence part, journal about what life would look like if you loved and accepted yourself, if you were confident, if you were living your dream. Go in on this. Like, set aside journal practice time. Don't just sit here for 5 minutes and like kind of think about it and be wishy-washy about it. Plan out, block time in your schedule to do this. The weekend is coming up. I'm sure you can find 20 minutes of time. And if you can't find 20 minutes, also come at me because we will do an inventory of your schedule. Okay? You have 20 minutes. You just don't want to make it. Journal about all of the things that you want, what you want your life to look like, what it would feel like if you were confident, what it would feel like if you loved and accepted yourself, and go in on it. Go in on that journal prompt and then ask yourself, okay, what action steps do I need to take to create this? And that's a whole lot of self-love. It's doing that positive self-talk. It's taking the time to maybe meditate or do EFT tapping to clear those beliefs. There are so many things that you get to do to reprogram these beliefs, to soften them, to take the power away from them. So many things that you can be doing. And once again, if you don't know the things that you need to be doing or whatever feels right for you, here's the other thing. This will look different for everybody. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that journaling, meditating, and EFT tapping are what you need to do. Just because those things worked for me doesn't mean that they're going to feel aligned with you, and that's okay. You might like shaking. You might like, I know Julia's here, she loves to sing, and that's something that lights her up, and that's something that feels authentic to her. There are different strokes for different folks, whatever that saying is. Do what feels right for you. But there absolutely has to be action taken. Because if you keep being the same person that you're being, nothing's going to change. Like, obviously, there's something that needs to change here. Obviously, there's an action step that you could be taking to get you from feeling sucky and hating yourself to on freaking fire. I'm feeling on fire right now. This is a good conversation. I'm feeling lit up. I might turn this into a podcast episode. Woo! You get to love yourself. You get to be confident. And I want you to think about what that version of you looks like. Okay? Tip number 3, to love yourself, to cultivate confidence, to release the comparison, all the things. What is one thing that you can do for yourself today to remind you that you love yourself? Once again, this will look different for everyone, but I can name like 20 things off the top of my head. Sitting in silence for 5 minutes, journaling about how much you love yourself, buying a new outfit that makes you feel fucking empowered and sexy, going to get your nails done, buying a coffee and sitting in silence in the parking lot, right? Treating yourself to your favorite meal. Or one of my favorite things is buying like really fun ingredients and cooking and having a glass of wine and playing Italian music and just like serenading myself and loving life. Get outside, go hug a tree, go sit in the sunshine for 20 minutes. Show up for you. If you have kids, go lock yourself in the bathroom for 10 minutes, right? Play your favorite podcast, play your favorite song and dance around. One thing, guys, I said this at some point during this training, this journey can feel very overwhelming to go from being who you are, hating yourself, not feeling confident, not loving yourself. All of these things that I'm saying can feel very overwhelming. Guys, 5 minutes a day, even 1 minute a day. Don't think that you need to change your entire life overnight and you need to be a completely different person tomorrow in order for this to work. That's not how I did it. I certainly don't think that's how anybody does it because that's a lot. And you're very attached to your identity. So if all of a sudden you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I'm going to be a different person, it's not going to last. So baby steps. What is one thing that you can start doing 5 minutes a day? That's it. To show yourself that you love yourself, to show yourself that you're showing up for you. You get to do that. That's your power. That's a decision. That's a choice you get to make. And even me just saying that right now, like after this, all I want to do is just sit down and with my iced coffee and be so happy and love the life that I've created for myself and take a moment to express gratitude. That's a tip for free, guys. Gratitude will change your vibration in an instant. I know that's so cliche. Say 3 things that you're grateful for. It will change how you feel about yourself. If you're so used to talking down to yourself and talking about all your shortcomings and how you don't have this and the universe is out to get you, and you shift to 3 things that you're grateful for, how can you not feel better, right? Just try it, okay? Guys, any questions? That was a lot. I really went off the board on that. This is something I'm super passionate about. You get to love and accept yourself. And I think the reason I'm so passionate is because I was stuck for a very long time, listening to those airplanes that made me feel like shit, listening to the opinions of others, basing my worthiness on what my parents thought about me, what my significant other thought about me, what my friends would think about me. That's how I was basing my worthiness. And at the end of the day, that made me feel more like shit than I do now honoring myself. You're the only one who gets to determine it. That fired me up. I love you. Love you too, Julia. Thank you so much for being here and on this journey. Sending you so much love. Thank you for participating. Guys, you're the only one who gets to choose. That's what I want to leave you with. It's a learned behavior. Go back to that. There's so much I still want to say. If this is calling to you, if this is, if you're struggling with self-love and comparison and confidence and all of those things, get inside Self-Doubt Detox. We begin February 7th. This is going to be like this training on crack. You're going to get live trainings. You're going to get live Q&As. You're going to get meditations. You're going to get journal prompts, all of the homework to take what I gave you today and package it up into actionable steps. Okay. We begin February 7th. You can message me for the link or the link is in my bio. And if group programs aren't your deal, if you want more support, I'm going to do a flash sale on one-on-one intensives. I'm not sure what price I want to do them yet, but if you're interested in like a 90-minute one-on-one pep talk, reach out. We'll work something out. And then I have 1 space left for one-on-one coaching. Guys, you're the only one who gets to choose. You're the only one in charge of your life. You're the only one in charge of how you feel about yourself. And if you are still dictating that, you're still allowing the external to mean something about you, let's flip script. You're the only one in control. Okay. Woo! I see you. I love you. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you need support, please reach out. This is my mission. I promise you life is so much better when you just release all the shit that is making you feel less than. There's so much more out there for you. You're so worthy because you are. Remember that. And if you can't remember for yourself, I'm telling you, you're worthy because you are. Okay. I see you. I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Have a beautiful weekend. And I'll see you guys. Well, if you're inside of the Facebook group, one more thing, free Facebook group. I go live every single day. Message me for the link. Every single day you get a free training. So get inside of there if you are someone who needs those daily pep talks. I love it. It's where I really show up. Okay. I'm going to stop because I'm getting carried away. Bye, guys.